Hello, hello. Welcome to Happiness is a Healthier Habit. And so this podcast came to life because I want to enhance your mom bod and get you feeling rejuvenated. This is going to be a talk about just life, nutrition, weight loss, mom topics, and just women life in general. So welcome. My name is Jackie Poole. And I will be talking to you today. Again, I'm so glad you found me. And it's my first episode, and I wanted to introduce myself and why I started and what I do and what I hope you get from these podcasts. My story, how I started, basically, I've always been overweight since high school, even since I was a little girl, always just was overweight, but especially after I had my first son, everything went downhill. I was close to almost weighing 200 pounds, or that's what it felt like. I remember stepping on the scale and I was 189, so I was getting pretty darn close to that. And so I was just tired. I was tired of feeling tired. I was tired of being always forgetful and just not having energy, and I was just done with it. So I remember distinctly shopping at Charlotte Russe. For those of you who don't know, the store's probably closed. It's very hard to find one. And I was reaching for an LX1 dress. And that kind of was the moment for me that I hated shopping. I could not continue shopping this way. I always carried a sweater with me because I could feel like it was my security blanket. It helped me cover myself, even though it was freaking hot outside. I always had a sweater with me. It was just something that I guess it was a protective mechanism for myself to make me feel better and just more comfortable around others. But I was not comfortable in my own skin, in my own body. It was not a pleasant feeling to have that. And so I just believe that when I was in this moment of, not feeling so great and hating the way I look like, it was just a belief that I had that I could not change. I could not make these changes. How was I going to give up some of the things that I love? Like, for example, growing up in a Mexican household, you guys, everything is pretty much fried and like in vegetable oil and chilaquiles and juice every day. So that was one of the biggest things that I had in a belief that I had was, how am I going to give up all these things? And so I really had to make my mindset change. And so it actually didn't start with me giving up the food. It started with me thinking that I was gonna exercise and out-exercise my diet. So it's so funny because when we started this journey, I had the support of my mom. And so she helped me get started. We started walking and it was fine and dandy. We started Zumba. We actually walked to our Zumba classes. It was right outside our neighborhood. So that was really nice. And so the first month of doing Zumba, it was great. I loved dancing. It was something fun. It was very interesting meeting all these awesome instructors and women who in the same, way were trying to reach their goals as well. So it was a very supportive community, very fun. And so there goes the first month, they would do weigh-ins and I lost nothing. So that was very disappointing. But at the same time, I really liked going. It was something different. It was getting me out of the house. So I definitely saw some changes, but not an impact that I wanted to. So it made me realize that, okay, I have to make different changes in my food because even though I'm exercising, I am not seeing any results. So now that I got that mindset, and I started doing both. And actually, I became a Zumba instructor, and that was really fun and interesting to do. And we did boot camp classes and started learning about weights and familiarizing myself with all these other tools and all this other world that I didn't know existed, because I was just in my own head, in my own little world, thinking, I can't do it, it's not for me, yada, yada, yada. So that belief was the first thing that had to change for me. Now, once I started seeing those results and I started seeing that change, and I started feeling good, I started having more energy. I was actually doing some classes in the morning and some classes at night. So that was really fun and motivating. And I did that for a very long time because of how I felt and how it made me feel, and the encouragement that you got from that community itself. So that's how I got started. And what we're going to talk about here today is, again, this podcast is going to be about nutrition, habits, our mom struggles, women's stuff, just real life, just you and me chatting today, how we can make things better for ourselves, for our mental health, for our, well-being in general, and just optimizing what we can with small habits. And so what I wanted to talk to you today was about what are habits. So habits are the little actions that you take that make those progressions and make life easier, and you just do it every day. Sometimes you don't even know that you're doing them, and they're just so natural to you because, like, for example, when you wake up, the first thing you do, you might be, go brush your teeth. That's probably something that you would not do every day because something that you've done and you've been taught, you know that it's good for your teeth and it's good for your, overall, mouth health, oral health. And so you actually do that and you didn't realize that was a habit. Habits are just everywhere. For example, I used to work at a pediatric office for almost 5 years. And there were times where I cannot remember how I got home. I remember leaving and I remember arriving at the house. I have no idea how I got there. Everything was just like, you cut that out of my brain, and I didn't know, how I got there. That's what habits do for you. So whenever you're feeling tired or you don't feel like doing something, those habits are the discipline that you want to have, right? Those habits are going to keep you going even when you don't want to do it. The habits are the response from your brain and is helping your life get better and do better, and those are in place. And you can have good habits or bad habits. It's just the way our brains cope with certain things that help us deal with our overall health and life and things that happen. For example, people who cope with stress or boredom, you might turn on the TV or you might be on your phone scrolling. You might not realize that's a habit, but everything we do is we are very habitual, or I know I am a very habitual morning person, and it's just like things have to go a certain way, because if they don't, things just don't fall. That's how it has to be for me. So habits are very important because they make life so much easier, so much everything just comes naturally when you have those habits in place. Now, for me, one of the most and best things that you can do as a mom especially is creating a really good morning habit routine that you have for yourself. The morning is the best time of the day for you because you're starting off your day refreshed. You're not thinking about what happened, during the day. You're just waking up. You want to start it the most optimal way possible. And it's going to help you make better decisions throughout the day. And, depending on whether it's making your bed or, feeding your body right, or deciding to exercise in the morning, or, other ways, having your me time. Because once that day gets started, as we have school, we have to make breakfast, we have to go to work, we have to go do this, run the errands, you get your day started. And so having those morning habits will help you optimize your day and make everything so much better as far as you making better decisions. So again, morning habits for me are, the best thing that you can do as far as develop in your world, because it's just the best way to start your day. And so, again, I am so convinced that morning habits are just like the best way to do it, because you can have your me time at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, you're exhausted, you're drained. If you went to work, you always, from work, you come to that second shift when you have to come home and take care of the kids. So it's a real thing. So it can be very, very like tiring. And so for me, the morning person is, you're just refreshed, you're not digesting the rest of the day. So everybody should have a morning routine when we wake up. It's just something that we should and we must have. And so when we decide to create those habits, like how do we get started? How do we do it? How long does it take? You hear all these things about habits of how long they take, 21 days, 30 days, 90 days. It's just you having a clear, a clear goal, clear mind of what you want to do, what you want your habits and actions, and to realize that they're there to make your life simpler. That's what habits are. And as a mom, you want simple, you want easy, you want fast, you want things that are not going to take as much time, because let's be honest, for the first years of the lives of the children that you have, it's to them, and it's very hard to separate that me time that from theirs, or it could be hard, especially if you're having like a newborn or things like that. So habits are there to make your life simpler, and that's what we want, right? And so how do we build habits? How do we go about, starting them, or, how? That's the big question. So you have to decide what you want to do, and you have to take like the smallest baby steps as possible. If it's something that you think it might overwhelm you, or if you think that it might be hard, or if you've tried some things before and they haven't worked, it's like all or nothing thing. So it doesn't work that way. So first, again, decide what you want to do and what's the thing that you're trying to do. Even if it's not a morning habit, it can be anything pertaining to what you want to do. So again, I'm a nutrition coach, and so I have a program that's basically build around a morning habitual program. And so one of the ways you can start habits, it's literally taking the smallest baby steps first. If you feel like, whatever's going to overwhelm you, start smaller there. So let's say you want to start walking in the mornings, and it takes just starting putting your shoes on. Like literally, that's how you have to start. Or setting your clothes out, seeing them every day, creating that habit of okay, I'm going to start by setting out my clothes the night before. And so what is something that you do at nights already, so if you shower every night, then okay, like after your shower and you get dressed, go ahead and take those clothes out for the following morning. And that, my friend, is going to be your first step. Literally just setting out your clothes. The next step might be, okay, I'm just going to put my walking shoes on and just leave them on for however long you want to, right? For 20 minutes. Or, put them in my car or take them with me or whatever. The next step would be actually going on that walk. But for like 2 minutes. Make it 2 minutes. 2 minutes on that walk. So it starts off by setting out your clothes. And then it's just putting on your shoes, right? And then just actually doing it. And remember, you actually started with that first step of getting things ready the night before. So again, attach the habit to something that you're already doing. So right after that shower, set out your clothes, get dressed in the morning, and the following step, you put on those shoes. And then the next step is you go for the walk for 2 minutes. And what you're going to find is like, well, I got like 1 more minute. I can go for another minute. Okay. Or if you do that, then great. There's going to be a point in time when your brain is going to be like, okay, this feels good. This is good. And you're just going to naturally add that time. And before you know it, you're going to be walking like 15 minutes. And that's literally all you need. 10, 15 minutes in the morning. That fasted walk or that walk that you took by yourself, or it took many steps to get there. But it took you deciding that you're going to start by doing the simplest step possible. That's how you start your habits. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he describes his habits as a ramp going into the highway. And then once you're past that ramp, you are just speeding away, and you're speeding away into your results. And before you know it, you are going to get there. But, when people try to go on a diet or, change the way they eat completely, like 0 to 100 real quick, having this restrictions can be so hard to just go from like all to nothing. And then you're not prepared to, what if there's a gathering, and to tell yourself, well, I can't have that. Well, are you choosing not to have that? Or, it is just taking those baby steps and being prepared and knowing what you want to do is going to get you to that highway, speeding away into those results. So very important. So again, let's go back to that real quick. So how do we build habits? We decide the baby step that we want to do, and then we attach it to something that we already doing, and then increase little by little that step until you finally get to what you want to do. So I hope you got that. And so I am so excited that I talked to you today, and I am just so excited and happy. You have no idea. I've been wanting to do this and start this. And so I just want to hope and pray that you guys get the value that you need, and I hope we can just talk about anything. And I just want this to be so informal and just you and me. And I hope, my goal is for you to be the happiest you, to have that self-love, that self-confidence that you might be lacking in yourself or your body. I always ask myself, why can't I be like skinny, or why can I? There's girls that I used to work at a pediatric office. Again, I see these moms bounce back so fast, and I was like, well, why can't I do that? And it really hurt me comparing myself to others, and I felt hopeless. I really hated the way I looked. But it takes time. It takes you learning and changing those habits so you can see those results, and really changing that belief, that perspective of how you see life. So no matter how you look like, it doesn't matter where you are, you don't have to be perfect. I used to contemplate, surgery or getting my boobs done, and that's something that I no longer really want to do, or I see it occasionally, but I'm happy with who I am, how I look like, and that's my goal for you. I'm so glad you joined me today, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so thankful that you got to listen to this episode. And if you are looking to get coached on nutrition to finally lose the weight, schedule a call with me at JackiePools.com. And so that discovery call is usually about 30 minutes, and we talk about your goals and how we can accomplish that and how we can work together. Also, please subscribe to my free newsletter, which comes out once a week on Tuesdays, and you will get weight loss tips that you can start implementing right away. And it's just another way for us to stay connected. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.